touch all your seatbelts, touch all your connections, touch your Hans. Just make sure you get everything like you want it.
Alrighty, good evening everyone. Tonight we come at you live from Rockford Speedway. Very, very small quarter-mile track here. This is one of the smallest tracks that we run in our series. Only 23 cars are going to make the main event here tonight. So we'll have 2 heats with 19. And from those 19, we will have 10 from each heat. And then an LCQ with whoever's left over, where only 3 will manage to transfer to the main event. So both heats will be 50 laps, and the main event 150. The LCQ will be 25 laps. So starting on the front row, you've got Mark Shelton and Hank Scorpio. Behind that, you got Chris K-Green and newcomer to the series, Joseph Hayes. Trevor Vaden and Evan Snake, Zach Magoon and Craig Bush, James Gunner and Sly Ojima, B. Roy and Jonah Burridge, Bailey Parker, Ralph Oberstadt, Finley Herwig, Alex Sanvital, Jamison Thole, Hamburgerson, and Jaden Anderson here. Man, 50 laps is going to go by in a blink, so you won't want to step away as we get started here.
Gentlemen, start your engine!
There's no telling what the racing is going to be like here tonight. We've never hosted a race here at Rockford. You can already tell that the track is very small for some of these big honking stock cars to roar around here tonight. Almost a lot like racing the bull ring at Las Vegas here. These guys going 3 wide on a short track. That's a new one. Joseph Hayes, new to the series here, wants to get his feet in the water. That 84 NASA entry. Fighting 3 wide for second place. He's going to clear Chris K-Green. Lights stay green so far here, so off to a good, clean start for everyone. Off to the early lead, it's Mark Shelton. And taking up the back half of the field, you've got Jamison Thole, Jaden Anderson, Osiel Escobar, Finley Herwig. Escobar's in the Bridge to Cup number 80, I believe. So that's where I got the confusion. Ralph Oberstadt sits in 12th. James Gunner in 11th. So right about here is the bubble spot that we're going to have to keep an eye on. See if they can make it through to the main event or if they're going to have to go to the LCQ. Seems like a lot of our heavy hitters are actually going to be in the second heat here tonight. We're missing out on majority of our race-winning drivers here in heat number 1. The likes of Ace Blake and Wyatt Wilkinson. Guess it's kind of half and half because we still have Trevor Vaden and Ralph Oberstadt in this heat here, who've all got wins. 15 there, Craig Bush, your most recent winner. Craig Bush just announced that he's going to run the Eastern Division for the USA Trucks, so newcomer to our Truck Series. He's going to hop in the number 84 to replace the absent GP Luxembourg. 84 Chevy, I believe. $14 laps in. These guys are turning 13-second laps. Our fastest lap so far belongs to this 27 of Evan Snake, who turned a 13:196. Not quite into the 12.9 bracket yet, but flirting with it. We might see someone in our second heat knock out a 12.9. The speed's there, I believe. All in the meantime, lead still being dominated by Mark Shelton in the 64. The last driver on an entry spot right now is James Gunner as he gets up into 10th, knocking Zach Magoon back to 11th. Still plenty of laps here to get back into the top 10 for some of these guys. Those that are looking like they might have to go to the LCQ, Zach Magoon, Ralph Oberstadt, which he could potentially get through the LCQ like we've seen him do already. San Vital, B. Roy, Bergerson, Anderson, Parker, Herwig, and Thole. Crazy how far away that 64 has driven. Hank Scorpio, Joseph Hayes, those are three that we might not have expected to see running 1, 2, 3 in a heat race. Kind of surprising since you would think an LFG car would be up in the top 3. You have to look outside the top 5 with 6th place Craig Bush, 7th place Trevor Vaden. LFG Motorsports kind of having to come from behind here, it looks like. Jonah Burridge doing Atlee proud there in the 78 for Commonwealth Racing Ventures. Uh-oh, and we've got somewhat of a mechanical failure here, it looks like, from the 69. Hank Scorpio from 2nd place. Suffers a flat tire. That's a bummer. Coming all the way up to a top 2 run here tonight, and we're going to get a caution. It'll restack them. That'll move some more drivers upward. Mark Shelton still your leader. Going to have a quick finish of this caution here if we can get it back racing quicker. Joseph Hayes in just his first ever start running second in heat number 1. If he's able to maintain this, he'll be in the main event where he can finish no worse than 23rd. And you've got Chris K-Green, Evan Snake, Trevor Vaden now up into the top 5. Sly Ojima running 6th. James Gunner 7th. Craig Bush 8th. Jonah Burridge 9th. And Zach Magoon 10th. I think this bubble spot's going to get very exciting here, as Magoon is going to have to hold off a hungry Ralph Oberstadt. 69 gets his flat tire repaired, but alas, 1 lap down. Green flag waves on the restart here. 69 a sitting roadblock. And here we have Oberstadt fighting for the position. This would be a transfer spot if he can stay where he's running right there. That'll knock Magoon back to 11th on the outside looking in. And we only have 17 laps here in heat number 1. Oberstadt's not stopping at one spot. He's going to try to get another spot here with Burridge. As a lot of the cars at the back of the field starting to come alive now, showing their speed, trying to get up into a transfer spot so they don't have to duke it out in an LCQ. Ooh, Oberstadt gets a little bit loose on the front straight. Maybe he's trying to heat up those tires to get a better run off the straightaways. 51, mounting a comeback here. Oberstadt struggling on that backstretch, something bad. So we're down to 12 laps in heat number 1. All in the meanwhile, nothing changing up the front of the field. Still Mark Shelton out there leading over Joseph Hayes, Chris K-Green, Evan Snake, and Trevor Vaden. Now we've got Magoon back into the transfer spot. Might be a photo finish between these two as to who transfers in and who falls back to the LCQ. Oberstadt still struggling. 51 has the momentum on the outside here. 10 laps remaining. It really looks like tonight's going to be all about track position. If you can qualify well for the main event, it's going to be hard to lose this race. With only 150 laps around the short track, even lap traffic might not be much of a factor in a 23 car field. We've kind of got a similar sampling size here with 19. For those of you that don't know, Rockford unfortunately closed its doors last year at the end of the 2023 season. We get to immortalize and keep this track running like it was, well, up until the last day that it hosted a race in NR2003. So it's kind of neat to have a revival of sorts to give these tracks that some people might not even know about another chance in the spotlight. That's one of the fun things about NR2003. You can make pretty much any race a reality once again, even if the track's been demolished and destroyed. I mean, think about it. Fontana has been one of my favorite tracks in NR 2003, but the Fontana that we know is no longer going to be the way it was, so we can keep hosting races at Fontana based on the track that we know and love, the 2-mile speedway that it was, up until they make the short track. Then we can do both of them. We could do the short track and the 2-mile super speedway someday. Gives us a little bit more options on the West Coast. So there you have it. Magoon makes the transfer, but unfortunately Oberstadt, San Vital, Bergerson, B-Roy, Parker, and the rest there listed have to go through the LCQ here tonight. Making it into the main event tonight is going to be the 64 Mark Shelton, the 84 of Joseph Hayes, the 10 of Chris K. Green, the 27 of Evan Snake, the 18 Trevor Vaden, 32 of James Gunner, 15 of Craig Bush, the 01 of Sly Ojima, the 78 of Jonah Burridge, and the 51 of Zach Magoon. Alrighty, so here we go with heat number 2 here from Rockford. Starting on the front row, you've got Donovan Heist and Ace Blake, Chase Kovacic and Kaylee Sheets, Jakov Rosovich and Craig Popchris, Wyatt Wilkinson and Matthew Hubert, Eli the Wolf and William Kinsella Jr. Then you've got Skylar Taylor and Joe Hill, Casey Klein and Adam Cruz, Matias Nunez and Alan Chavot, Chris Mozzie and Rand Kataz, with Gustavo at the very back of the field here. Another 50 laps and 10 drivers to make the main event.
Guys, gonna be coming to you here in a sec. Big day, big day. Let's make the most of it.
I realized I didn't change the roster, but Ace Blake will be in a different paint scheme for the main event. I'll get it set up right. They just turned this car out for the heat race and whatever they have to race through to get to the main event. Already off to an early caution here. Oh, and it's a big pileup at the back of the field. The 50 of Pop Chris involved, and let's see who else got tangled up in it. Pop Chris, unfortunately, just pulling a Ross Chastain here. Comes back down and collects the 1, the 11. And that's potentially going to put some more people behind the 8 ball here on having to go to the LCQ. They get it all sorted out here. We should be back to green flag racing in about 2 laps time. Early start here. The leader is Ace Blake over Donovan Heist, Kaylee Sheets and Rosevich, Kovacic, and the 6 of Matthew Hubert, Wyatt Wilkinson, Eli the Wolf, Skylar Taylor, Joe Hill, your 10th place driver right now. On the outside looking in at the moment is Alan Chavot in 11th, William Kinsella Jr., Casey Klein. Adam Cruz might have to retire the car. He sustained enough damage from that wreck. You might see that car blip out of existence here. And we're back to green flag racing as Ace Blake holds off Donovan Heist. Kaylee Sheets trying to go for second here. The bubble spot, we'll look and see Joe Hill fighting with the 79. Chavot trying to give it a good push here. 3 wide in front of the both of them. Kind of the danger zone there for Skylar Taylor, Eli the Wolf, and Wyatt Wilkinson. Gonna watch this camera angle as the chaos gets settled there for a moment. Eli the Wolf has to give way and fall back. He's still in a transfer spot though. The 11, 1 lap down, looking a lot like Adam Cruz is going to have to go through the LCQ here tonight. Chavot still giving it his all here, running that inside line on the 14 of Joe Hill. This battle far from over as these two duke it out for position. Since that caution, we've seen some cleaner racing here throughout the field. Helps on the restart that they've restarted single file. I said we might see a 12.9, not quite. The fastest lap belongs to Eli Wolf with a 13.16. So still haven't cracked that 12.9 bracket. And maybe not. Maybe the track just doesn't have it for a 12.9 here tonight. Still have the LCQ and the main event to see if someone can crack a 12.9. Alan Chavot dropping back a little bit here. Needs to recoup and try to attack that 14 for position as they're down to 29 laps here in the second heat. The front of the field not missing a whole lot as Ace Blake is driving away with it. Looks like he's actually about to catch some lap traffic here too in the not so far ahead distance. Donovan Heist, somewhat of a surprise there, running in second. Kaylee Sheets, an impressive top 3 at the moment. Rosevich, Kovacic, Hubert, Wilkinson, Taylor, Wolf, and Hill. What happened to the 79? 79 of... Oh, a mechanical failure for the 79 of Chavot. Damn. Looked like he had a good run going. He's going to have to go to the LCQ after they get a new engine put in that 79. So not over. Might like his chances better in the LCQ, where all he's got to do is finish top 3 amongst some of the other contenders that failed to make it through their heat. We can watch, it was on lap 23. All of a sudden, engine just gave way on that 79. You don't see that very often on short tracks where a mechanical failure rears its ugly head. You even saw the exhaust flames there when that engine blew up. So at least they are allowed a spare engine and they can come back for the main event with a fresh one. In the meantime, 19 laps remaining here in heat number 2. The LCQ is only going to be about 25 laps, so it's going to be a frantic 25 laps for these guys to try and make the main event. If you don't qualify up in the top 5, it is going to be a hard one in that LCQ to work your way into a transfer spot. Last transfer spot still remains to be Joe Hill in that 14. And a little bit further back, the 09 of Kinsella Jr. has quite a gap to span there. Eli the Wolf still with your fastest lap at 13:160. Joe Hill goes way high there, trying to maybe find an alternate line to try and make some moves through the field. These short track races really do change the whole strategy when it comes to racing in our series. You've often seen strategy based on pit stops or whether or not there's enough room to make passes. This really does come down to the qualifying and mostly mechanical failures or anything else is the only thing that's going to cause people to lose positions. There's very, very few opportunities to make passes here. And just as I say that 09 closing up on the 14. This could be a battle for that last transfer spot. 14 is searching for different angles on this track to try and get the most out of that 14 engine. But in the meantime, it looks like the 09 has found a quicker way around this track as he's closed the gap, but not very many laps left to go. 5 laps this time by. The 09 is going to need a miracle to get alongside that 14. 4 laps. Looking more and more like Joe Hill's going to be able to hang on here. Oh, they did not need a lap like that, as the 09, I think, has that car moving on a slot. Looks like a slot car rolling around that bottom lane. Couple more laps here now. One more lap, and it's going to be Joe Hill making the main event here tonight. Remaining guys behind him going to the LCQ. Casey Klein's going to be in the LCQ. Gustavo, Klein, Kataz, Popgris. Ooh, Nunez has been having a hard go of it here lately. And then the 88 of Mozzie. Those that are making the main event tonight is none other than Ace Blake in the 77, 25 of Heist, the 66 of Sheets, the 43 of Rosevich, the 62 of Kovacic, the 6, the 19 of Wilkinson, the 29, the 33 of Eli the Wolf, and the 14 of Joe Hill. So just hold tight as we get the LCQ lineup set here for tonight. It's going to be 18. So basically 3 perfect lineups of drivers. Heat 1 was 19, Heat 2 was 19, and then the the LCQ is going to be 18. Alrighty, 18 drivers here in the LCQ. "25 laps, so it is going to be a pulse-pounding speed, flashing LCQ here. And it's going to be all about getting that pole position start, which will help you immensely get off to the start you need here in the LCQ. Starting on the front row, you've got Alan Chavot and B. Roy. Behind that, you've got Hank Scorpio and Bailey Parker, Rand Kataz and Casey Klein, Hamburgerson and Chris Mozzie, Alex Sanvital and Adam Cruz, Finley Herwig and Jaden Anderson, Matias Nunez and Kinsella Jr., Gustavo Oberstadt, Thole, and Popkris. 25 laps. The LCQ is going to be frantic. Only your top 3 make the main. Got to imagine there's a bit of an advantage here for the 79 now that they've got a fresh engine. It's totally within the rule books. They blew it up in the first heat, so they had to dip into their resources and get the extra engine out here for the LCQ. And as long as he can get off to the early lead here, he should be set for the race. Not looking to be an easy lead earn here, as B. Roy's going to try to pass him on the outside. Third place up for grabs right now, as the 69 of Scorpio lets Bailey Parker by. Casey Klein could potentially go home. These guys doing everything they can within their power to start moving through the field here. Casey Klein riding that high line. Looks like he's going to get up to 4th. And he's going to have his sights set on the 4 of Bailey Parker. These the fast laps in this one look relatively slow. We saw a 13.1 in both the other heat races. Top speed right now a 13.5. Make that a 13.4. Casey Klein second fastest. Still a 13.4 as Alan Chavot now second fastest here. And I'm thinking that's about all the speed these guys have in this LCQ field. 13.4 is about the best they can muster. Casey Klein's going to make it interesting here for the last transfer spot as Bailey Parker holds on to it for now. Casey Klein right there behind him. Casey knows all too well racing these short tracks. This is his wheelhouse. That number 1 looking stout, working his way closer and closer to the main event here tonight. Gonna need at least one more spot to qualify. Bailey Parker actually picking up the pace here. He turned a 13.380. So Parker not wanting to give up that spot without a fight. Down to 11 laps to go here in the LCQ, and then we will know our main event starting roster. And this really is going to be huge because you're guaranteed pretty much a top 20 if you have a couple other drivers fall out in the 23 car field main event. Top 20, I mean top 25 is a given. You're going to finish 23rd or better in the main event here tonight. So great points night for some of these guys that might not otherwise run in the top 20 each week. That makes this all the more insane is the fact that Casey Klein sits about top 5, top 10 in the points, and he could be sent packing here tonight. He'll miss his first ARCA race of this season if he can't get by that 4 car. 5 laps to go now. Casey trying to crank down in that one, trying to find any opportunity to pounce on the 4. So he's taking a higher line, kind of riding the outside berm there. That 4 keeping the position. It doesn't look promising for that 1 car. We're down to just 2 laps now. All in all, B. Roy and Alan Chavot not sweating a bullet, not sweating an ounce. Unlike the one who is sweating bullets. White flag, final lap here tonight in the LCQ, and it looks like the 4 is going to get it done. Bailey Parker, Alan Chavot, and B. Roy is going to join the main event here tonight. And now throw all bets out the window because the 150 lap main event is going to be crazy. There's no telling what's going to happen once we add those extra couple cars in the running order and how crazy it can get here tonight. We did see a wreck in heat number 2. So who knows if the main event's going to see chaos and carnage perhaps. Casey Klein misses the event here, so that's an upset for sure. Matias Nunez yet again. Joseph Hayes makes his first event here tonight. Wow, Jamison Thole, who's actually a winner in the series, misses the main event. 23 main event. There we go. We gotta make sure. Yep, that's the one.
Favor, just touch all your seatbelts, touch all your connections, touch your Hans. Just make sure you get everything like you want it.
Oh wow, that is the qualifying order. That's a crazy front row. We're gonna have some very, very strong contenders coming through the midfield here in tonight's race. So 150 laps has already been kind of convoluted here with Matthew Hubert getting his first ever pole. That's quite the start for the number 6 team there. Right there beside him is Rosevich, and then you've got Skylar Taylor and Craig Bush, Ace Blake and Bailey Parker, Joseph Hayes and Mark Shelton, Trevor Vaden and Kaylee Sheets, Joe Hill and Chris K-Green, Alan Chavot and B. Roy, Jonah Burridge and Donovan Heist, James Gunner and Chase Kovacic starting deep in the field. Wyatt Wilkinson starting alongside Eli the Wolf, Evan Snake and Zach Magoon with Sly Ojima dead last starting here.
Gentlemen, start your engine!
So the main event should be about 45 minutes in duration here. And already looking like we could see another first-time winner as Hubert, Rosevich, Taylor, your top 3 have never won here in SIGMA ARCA competition.
If you're looking to start finish line, look left.
Pace car is off and we are racing here from Rockford Speedway. Matthew Hubert turned the fastest lap in qualifying. It was a 13.0, so still not a 12.9, but damn close. There's a lot that goes through these drivers' heads. This is very quick reactions, very precise movement, as you can't put a wheel wrong, and you would take out quite a big chunk of the field if you made a wrong move here on the initial starts of the race. These cars much bigger than what this track was designed to hold, but it's kind of a modern marvel to watch as they tear around this quarter-mile, very, very short track. And they're doing it pretty well. I mean, we've seen only one wreck here tonight. They're quick learners. Obviously, they're learning the track pretty quickly, as none of them have drove this track before. Craig Bush now up to 3rd. Running in 2nd is Matthew Hubert from pole position. He drops to 2nd here. I do imagine that we're going to start seeing speed. Some of these cars that are a little bit faster move towards the front. Fastest lap belongs to Rosevich, who leads the way right now. But I could see that changing here in a couple laps once they start getting lined out single file. Someone else deeper in the field is going to have a faster lap. But the initial start side by side, this is hurting a lot of these drivers for pace because they can't get onto the preferred line here and turn those fast laps. They've got to wait for either a driver to fall off or they've got to find an opening once they can get past them. Like that, Kaylee Sheets running on the outside. She needs to find an opening down low here so that she can start turning competitively faster laps with a single file line. Right there, she's going to try to close the door on the 84 of Hayes. Not quite there yet as Hayes holds in strong. But as soon as she does find that opening, she's going to start turning quicker laps here. So far, so good. 12 laps in without any cautions. Rosevich, still your fastest from the lead position. Oh, and just like that, Matthew Hubert turns a faster lap. Hubert sits in second, turned a 13:298. Best lap Rosevich has had is a 13:36. 150 laps. It's probably going to give us a decent run on tire degradation. We might start seeing the lap times really drop off towards the end of this one. And that's where the strategy starts to kick in. Those that are really good at saving their tires might start moving through the field. Those that are really rough on tires will probably start dropping backwards. We go towards the back of the field here. Currently in dead last, it's Sly Ojima. Right in front of Ojima is Evan Snake, Zach Magoon. Man, Wilkinson having a rough go of it here, not getting much space to roam. I think being held back by the slower traffic, this might be a hard 9 for the 19 team. Alan Chavot pretty much holding about mid-pack there, running 16th right now. But the nice part is he's got clear track for the most part that he can maneuver any which line he wants. Right there, he turned a 13.532, so having that clear track around him is going to be huge and allowing him to try and make moves himself. There you got Joe Hill, Kovacic, Heist, Trevor Vaden, B-Roy, and now your top 10, as you've got the 10 car of Chris K. Green, the 84 of Joseph Hayes, Kaylee Sheets, Ace Blake now starting to come alive here. Mark Shelton looks strong in your first heat. He's kind of converting it over into a good main event run here. Bailey Parker had to make it through the LCQ, and he's showing just what he's got here with that 4 car. Craig Bush, Matthew Hubert, and still Rosevich leading the way. But now the first wrinkle gets thrown in the blueprint here for Rosevich, is he's going to have to figure out lap traffic. We still haven't seen a 12.9. Rosevich with a 13.229, the fastest lap in the race. Well, lap traffic has kind of thrown a little bit of a wrinkle in the race here. As you see, Rossovich has not been able to pass any of the lap traffic. We've got our top two drivers both potentially a first-time winner in all of Sigma racing. Rossovich has never won, nor has Hubert. Those two, I guess even if we go back a little bit further, fourth place Bailey Parker has never won any form of Sigma competitive racing, nor has Skylar Taylor. So 4 of our top 5 looking like potentially first-time winners across all of the series that we host. Everyone's kind of got strung out here. Not a lot of passing, though. Everyone's kind of settled down into the spots that they've been running here. I do think once we get past halfway, that's when tires are going to start to become a factor. And those that are really good at saving their tires are going to start moving through the field. Those that are really rough on their tires are probably going to start dropping backwards. Hubert under attack here from Craig Bush. Seemingly no one has had much for Rossovich, who's led every lap up to this point. Laps are clicking along pretty quickly here as we have not seen any cautions. Rossovich just barely caught lap traffic about 15 laps ago, but has not been able to do anything with them. Gotta imagine Tate Bergeron, happy team owner watching as his 43 car leads the way right now. How cool would it be, though, to have the number 6 win after we just saw the 6 at Keselowski win at Darlington this past Sunday. And then you got Craig Bush in the 15, who's already won a race here in the month of May and could potentially get, if he gets that second win, get some more bonus rewards here in the month of May. As we're halfway through the month of May, that rewards program going swimmingly so far. We actually got to see Al Bunch secure his second win, and he opted for a boost to driver ratings across all series, so it's only going to help him in his venture for more wins as he gets a +2 boost to all of his racing ventures here in Sigma. And obviously, Craig Bush will have that same opportunity to either pick between a ratings boost for the AI to get some better performance out of the car, or a free paint scheme, or a background. So a painted background for like your computer screen or phone screen. That's kind of the bonus perk to that second win, is you get to choose which reward you get. If you stack 3 wins, it's a $5 gift card. If you stack 4 wins, it's a $10 gift card. Rossovich has not yet won here in May, obviously, with the fact that he has not won in any form of Sigma racing yet. Currently 10 laps to halfway. Joseph Hayes in his first ever career start, not too bad. Top 10 run. We've seen a lot of success from these drivers making their debuts. For example, Wyatt Wilkinson finished second and then got his first career win. Ace Blake finished second and then got his first career win. So if Joseph Hayes somehow works his way through the field for a second place tonight, we all know what's likely to happen next week. It could, all signs point towards Joseph Hayes winning if he could finish second here tonight. And let me just say, there's just a mild sense of relief here tonight that we're actually getting a nice clean race. There's no glitches, there's no shenanigans, it's just nice clean racing. And your perception of what we could have expected here tonight, I don't think we expected to see this 43 car leading, but it's actually a pleasant surprise as we watch Jakov Rosovich put in a great run here so far. Still a lot of racing to go here. There's a lot that can pan out. Running order really has not changed a whole lot here. Potentially a battle for 9th materializing as K Green getting alongside Joseph Hayes here. Even the 77 fighting your top 5, kind of changing up a little bit here. This is where the tires start to reign supreme. Those that have been smart about saving their tires might have a little bit more in the tank here. I'm thinking that 77 of Ace Blake might be a stout one to keep your eye on. And now we just got past halfway as there's 70 laps to go here on lap 80. Things have settled back down again here. Amazingly, Sly Ojima starting to drive away from Rosovich. Our leader's kind of getting dragged into a lull here. You gotta almost wonder if our leaders burned up their tires trying to race as hard as they did. That even your tail end of the lead lap drivers are starting to close back up behind them. That's crazy. Of all the things, I did not think that we would see a run that plateaued so badly that the leader starts losing momentum here. to the lap traffic. I mean, Rosevich isn't even looking half bad. He's still driving away from the 6 car. Maybe due in part to the 01 stretching it out here. 23 cars really is about the happy medium here tonight, or I guess any night, honestly. If you have too many more than 23, it's just going to be a non-stop traffic jam where there's not much passing going on. Wyatt Wilkinson is probably going to want to forget about tonight. A 21st without much room to move up. Tough to make passes here at this short track. Might have to look and see who the big mover is in the race. It all happened on the initial start, I believe, since there has not been many passes for the last 50 laps. Thought we were going to see some passes materializing with Ace Blake the way he was running. But it all started to unravel when your leader started losing traction to the lap traffic in front of him. Now Rosevich closing back up on Ojima again. It almost seems like he's found the sweet spot, so he doesn't have to overrun it, but at the same time still run fast enough to stay away from second place. Down to 50 laps remaining here tonight at Rockford Speedway. And Rosevich starting to lose a little bit of traction here to the pole sitter, the 6 of Hubert. Wilkinson much rather would have a top 20 here versus a top 25. He's fighting for 20th, trying to get up one more spot here before the end of the night. They might just have to go back to the drawing board and figure out something different for these short tracks. It seems to be his Achilles heel, that all the races that he's had bad runs at have been on a short track. Chavot might as well just consider himself fortunate that he was able to make the main event and still move up 8 spots from where he probably would have finished, having barely made the make the main event. He had probably about a 23rd place car, and he's sitting 16th. So all about track position from the start of the race. Qualified 13th, only fell backwards 3 spots, but still a great run for Chavot. This is gonna, weigh heavy on future endeavors at this racetrack. It doesn't seem like passing is very, very prominent here. We are starting to see the tire wear at the end of this run, as we only have 40 laps left. These cars really do look like they have 111 laps of wear and tear on them, as that 43 is turning about 0.6 of a second slower laps each lap, almost to a full second. Hubert in second, still within a fighting chance here. This is why our main event is 150 laps. You can start to see the strategies unravel here for some of the drivers. "35 laps to go." Craig Bush trying to get experimental there in third place. You see him taking some different approaches to the racing line. He's running about midway up the track, kind of holding a high groove through turns 3 and 4 to cut down low on the exit of 4. It's allowing him to turn a little bit faster laps here. This could be a semi-popular victory. Jack Ross, his partner in crime, Jakov Rosovich. It's going to be a very Russian-fueled victory here if that 43 gets the job done. You can't count all your chickens before the eggs have hatched. That 6 is still very much within pouncing distance here. The 43 makes a mistake. Hubert could surprise us all here. Man, I'm amazed that we have not seen a single caution. We haven't seen a mechanical failure. This race has run green flag from lap 1 all the way to lap 125 so far. "25 laps to go here around Rockford, and we'll have our first ever winner crowned at the short track." Running order still pretty much unchanged throughout the field here. But this is the closest tango we've seen for a battle lately at the front of the field. You gotta imagine our pole sitter a little bit more on the hungry side to get the win. How perfect would it be to get pole position and the win? The only thing he's missing is led most laps, which will go right on over to Rosovich there in the 43. We have a battle on our hands. That 6 keeping it close. 43 is slowed way up. I think he's used his tires right to the bitter end. But 20 laps, only 20 laps to go. The 6 is going to have to figure out a plan of attack here, and he's going to have to figure it out really quickly as those laps dwindle down. He's still turning faster laps each time. The 6 could surprise us. He has a half-second deficit though, and man, it's, you know, catching them is one thing, passing is a whole nother. 0.6, so he lost some time there, went from half a second to 0.6. 0.6 of a second behind. I do like how that 6 car is running kind of a lower line there. It looks faster. Might be deceiving, but it definitely looks faster. Problem is the 43 just running a hair faster each lap. Ooh, and that was a slow lap for Hubert as he just turned a 14.32 and the 43 turned a 14.1. Regardless, looking like an exciting finish, at least for our leader to have put in such a dominant performance here tonight. Only 12 laps remaining, and Rosevich really starting to stretch it back out. Down to the final 8 laps, and Hubert has fallen backwards to a 1.2 second deficit, more than a second separating him from the leader. He's going to have to knock out about half a second each lap right here just to really catch up. No retirements, all 23 cars still running, all 23 cars still on the lead lap. As Rosevich has dominated here tonight, that 43 car definitely earning his keep here at Rockford. 4 laps to go. Got to give these guys credits for putting on a clean. Wow, the 51 had to go down pit road. I don't know if this is, if people are going to start running out of gas on the last lap here. 51 pulling down. That's going to give, I believe, Chavot a top 15. No, the 79's running 16th. So now we have one driver that had a unexpected pit stop there. Our leader's still not wavering as the white flag waves for Rosevich. Hubert still running second. Craig Bush still in third. But forget about it. The 43 brings it home, gets the checkered flag for Taden Berggren in the number 43 Runza Pontiac here tonight. Jakov Rosevich joins his partner in crime, Jack Ross, in getting his first ever career win. We've seen Jack Ross get multiple career wins in his tenure throughout the Sigma-verse. And tonight, Rosevich gets it done. Gearbox for the 51, so it was a mechanical failure for the 51. Coming home fourth was Bailey Parker. Then you had Skylar Taylor, Mark Shelton, Ace Blake, Kaylee Sheets, Joseph Hayes in his first career start, Chris K. Green, B. Roy, Trevor Vaden, crazily enough, finishing in 12th, Donovan Heist, Chase Kovacic, Joe Hill, Alan Chavot, Jonah Burridge, James Gunner, Eli the Wolf, and Wyatt Wilkinson. Evan Snake, Sly Ojima, and then Zach Magoon as your only retirement here in the race tonight. Point standings are going to get shooken up here a little bit as a lot of our heavy hitters had a rough night. And slowly, surely, we're getting to halfway through this ARCA championship, and it's really going to start, getting a little bit spicier here towards the end of the season. And so Rosevich earns the first of his first victories here in the month of May. His first career SIGMA victory in all series contested. Hubert, man, it's such a bummer that he wasn't able to find the pace to work back up to the lead there. Pole sitter finishes second, just comes up a little bit short.
Greg, did you have any ignition problems?
And so that is a wrap for tonight's SIGMA ARCA race from Rockford Speedway. The now defunct racetrack hosted a pretty clean, pretty dominant performance there from Jakov Rosevich. And so tomorrow we've got a doubleheader on tap, Bridgestone Cup and the Sylvania Cup. And hopefully y'all can tune in for that. Hopefully enjoyed this somewhat of a snooze fest, but at least it was clean. There was no glitches. It was just kind of nice to have a status quo race once in a while where it's not just all hell breaking loose. Congrats to Rosevich, and hopefully we'll see some more surprise winners like that throughout the year. Stay safe out there, everyone. Have a good night.